Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm finally here to do a video. I think it's been probably almost 2 months since I filmed a video with our move and my new daily tasks. I have much less time in my office, but I have two great cards today using the In Good Taste suite of products, I guess. We're using a few of the items. So this is page 122 of our 2020-2021 annual catalog. We're going to be using some of this designer series paper. And then on the following page is the photo of the stamp set. And there are coordinating dies right at the top right there. There's all those lovely shapes. Those are the dies that coordinate with this stamp set. And then we're also using some gold trim from the Forever Greenery suite as well. Forever Fern suite, something like that. This gold trim. It comes in a combo pack with this very vanilla, it's kind of like gauze, it's really thin, but we're just using the gold trim for this card. So we'll start with a crumb cake card base and fold that in half. Then I have a layer of Mary Merlot that's 5 1/4 by 4. Then a layer of Early Espresso that is just 1/8 of an inch smaller, and I have embossed that with this new embossing folder, which is part of this suite. It is the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, and that's also in our catalog, available right now. So I embossed that layer. Then I have some little die cuts. So I have 2 each of 3, maybe more. I have an extra one of this one, of the designer series paper. So this is a really large paper pack. You get 12 designs, 2 of each design. They're all double-sided. So you get 24 full sheets. And it's the In Good Taste designer series paper. And I've chosen 3 of the hardwood designs, and we're going to use those today. So I'll put my card base aside for now, and I'm going to line them up just the size of my card front. And they kind of match together, something like that. Maybe this one will be light. So you'll need 5, so these ones are extra. Then I'm going to take this image in our stamp set and stamp it in Mary Merlot stamped off on some of these background tiles. This really just gives a little bit added texture to those little tiles. And that's what's awesome about this stamp set, is that there are a few different images. This is the one that we just used. Then there's also this vintagey looking one as well. So now that I have those, I can glue down on my first panel. So I'll line them up again here. This one I want to be at the very bottom, but so that I don't have to cut any of it off. And then these ones will have a little bit trimmed. So I'm going to start with this bottom one, because I know that I don't want to have to trim any of it off. Then I can do this one. And this is kind of the same technique that a lot of designs were done with the tailored tag punch. It's nice that they all kind of fit together and they look like a little puzzle. And these, I think every die in this set has stitching or some sort of texture on the outside, on the edge, when you die cut it. And our last one. And I didn't stamp on this dark one because we're going to cover most of it up. So I have that, and then I can trim these 3 edge pieces once I let it dry a little bit longer. Then I have a piece of Whisper White, just a scrap, and in Mary Merlot, if I can open it, we're going to stamp the large flower image. Stamp that 2 times. And then in Early Espresso, I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says "You are the best." Then we'll close these so I don't have any accidents. We'll trim this apart. And these, I'm just going to cut pretty close to the word. But then once you have the first one trimmed, it goes really quickly. Let's see. It's an easy font to cut out it's not a handwritten font. So these ones are easy. And now these 3 are all the exact same size, so you can just trim there. And then so now I have my 4 little words. We'll set those aside. Then I'm going to fussy cut these out, and ta-da, here they are. Because you guys don't want to watch me fussy cut. I'm a slow fussy cutter. Dies all the way. Then I have my sprig punch. This is in our annual catalog as well. It came out a couple years ago, and I always forget to use it because we have so many dies. But we need 3 sprigs. I also have die cut this label image. It also has stitching. It's out of vellum from that same die set. And we're going to layer these flowers on it eventually like that. So those are all the pieces you need. To add some more depth and dimension to these flowers, they look really good now, but we're going to add some sponge daubing to the edges and the inside. And then just take it in the center and go in a little circle. Now doesn't that look totally different? So we'll do it to this one as well. With sponge daubers, you don't have to have one for every color. You can, but you don't need to. Once it's dry, you can use it for another color, or you can rinse them out in the sink and then wait for it to dry and then use it again. So there's our 2 flowers. Now I think we're ready to start assembling. So I'll take my card front back. And I'll just turn this over and trim the little bit that's hanging off. And adhere that onto my Mary Merlot layer. This way. and adhere that layer onto my card front. Then I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on the back of my vellum, and we're going to cover them up with the flowers so you don't have to worry that you can see through it. Layer that about there. Then we can put our flowers up on dimensionals as well. And they're going to overlap, so I'm going to put 2 on this flower and then just 1 on this one so that they still lay nested together. There we go. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this petal so that they stay together. Then my 3, oh, I forgot my gold trim. We still have time. I'm going to just wrap this around my hand, my 4 fingers, 4 times. And trim it. And now this is, it's like, reminds me of embroidery thread or embroidery floss, that it's kind of woven together. So if you separate it, now we have metallic thread. So now I have 2 sections of separate threads. Then I'll take it and wrap it up again in my fingers, just so that it gives it more volume, and wrap it up. Mess it up a little bit. Then this whole section I'll stick to a glue dot on either side, and then that'll hold it all in place. So now I kind of have a big nest. Then, because I already attached those, I'll trim these ends. And I'll just tuck this under. This flower. These dimensionals are really sticky today. There we go. There. So now it's being held in place with kind of this dimensional under the vellum, as well as the glue dots that I put on the edge. So then you can kind of rough it up however much you'd like it, so that it doesn't look uniform. Then we'll add our sprigs. Just with 1 glue dot on each. There we go. Now I will add these. Oh, I guess I could do my words first. Now I'll add my sentiment words. So I'll start with you. And R. And then the is gonna go tuck right under there. Maybe to the center. The. And then best. I'm not sold on the placement of this one either. Oh, now I ripped it. Okay, let's get rid of this for a second. This is what happens when you're out of practice and making cards. Let's take another sprig and get it ready. I wanted this to go here, right beside it. So then my sprig has to go farther over this way. Maybe it has to go this way. There. So now I have my sentiment words glued down. Now I'll add some of these gold glitter enamel dots. And these are in our annual catalog. They were part of a special promotion last year and they carried over. So I'm just going to sprinkle these onto here. Tuck that one in there. So now I have some bling and some gold edging. So that's the inside of our card. We can't forget the outside. So for that, I'm just going to stamp another flower and some of our texture stamps. So stamp this flower in the bottom corner. Now we can't do the edges obviously, but I can still do the inside to blend some of that ink in together. Then I'll do this image and again stamped off so that it's a little bit lighter. Just like that, and we'll adhere that into the inside of our card. And there is card number 1. This is the finicky one. The next one is easier. Here's my first sample that I made. So I didn't do too terrible. Our next one is totally different color scheme. We are using Blushing Bride and some of that In Good Taste Designer Series paper again. So I have, we'll use this same scrap that we have left over from our last card. And then our layer for the inside. Sitting here. So on this scrap, I'm going to stamp the feather in basic gray. Now I have ink all over it too. So stamp that feather in basic gray. Then on 3/4 of an inch, or you could do as wide as an inch of just Whisper White, I'm going to stamp the sentiment, "You Are So Special," in Blushing Bride. Then we'll let those dry for a little bit. Then with our Stampin' blends, I'm going to use the light smoky slate marker and color a length of this silver edged ribbon. And this is a great way if you're looking through your stash and you don't have anything that matches the card you're making, then just color it. So you can do it with all light colored ribbons. You can even color some of the gold ribbons that we've had in the past. You could color them with the blends to give it a nice new look. So I'll trim that off and let it dry. Then with this feather, we're going to fussy cut it out. And ta-da, here it is. Then with Smoky Slate ink, so this was stamped in basic gray. Then in Smoky Slate ink, we're going to ink up the edge, just so that the eye isn't attracted to where you fussy cut it out, and it gives it that two-tone look. None in the center this time. Then on our sentiment strip, I'm just going to trim this off on an angle and this a little bit shorter so that it doesn't stick out. Then we can get to adhering our layers. So I have a Blushing Bride card base. Then I have a layer of Smoky Slate, and this is another pattern from that In Good Taste Designer Series paper. So this is 4 by 4 3/4 is the Designer Series paper. So then this layer is 4 by 5 1/8. So is that 4 by 5 1/8, just so that you have just a strip sticking out the top and the bottom. So we'll adhere this layer. Then I have a 1-inch strip of another pattern in that same Designer Series paper that will stick on here. So that's 1 inch by 4. Then for our inside layer and our Blushing Bride card front, we're going to stamp this Victorian looking image in Blushing Bride ink. And you really only need to get the very edge. That's all you'll see. And then I'll do some on the inside panel as well. And I just stamped that one off a little bit so that it's not too much on the inside. So we can adhere our inside layer. Then our outside layer. Now we have our ribbon is dry that we colored. So I'm just going to make a little zigzag with it. And put some glue dots on the back. And one more for this top piece. And I'll put some dimensionals on the back of my feather. So I'm just going to put one at the top and one at the bottom so that it goes across that ribbon. Like that. And then this will tuck right in there. So this was a much easier card. Not as fussy with all those little pieces. So this was my initial one that I made. But this is Petal Pink. And this is what color it says on the back of your designer series paper. It says what colors are in it. So this says Basic Gray, Early Espresso, Gray Granite, Night of Navy, Petal Pink, Rococo Rose, Smoky Slate, Very Vanilla, and Whisper White. So this, I'm assuming, is supposed to be Petal Pink, but it does not match. And if you look at Rococo Rose is a lot darker, so it's not Rococo Rose either. So this is Blushing Bride, and it matches way nicer. So make sure you look at your cardstock that it's just a different shade. The Petal Pink one looks too orange to me. It doesn't match, but I had already glued everything down. So the night for my video to show you guys today, I wanted to make sure that you guys always look at the back of your package to see what colors it is, but then you can mix it up and you don't have to use exactly that color either. So there's this card, and then here's our first card that we made, and you can find all of the products I used today on my online shopping page, stampinstorytellers.stampinup.net, or you can visit my blog, and on the right top right hand corner there is a shop button that will take you to that page. Remember that July is bonus days, so for every $60 you spend in my online store, you get a $6 coupon to use in August. And our holiday catalog, which is our August to December mini catalog, comes out in August. It comes out earlier. It usually comes out in September, so it's a month earlier than usual. So that catalog will launch, and you'll have $6 coupons to use. There's no limit of coupons that you can acquire or earn from now until the end of July. So make sure you head on over, do some stock up shopping, and then you can order some free product with your coupons in August. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again really soon. Thank you. Bye.